the Galactic Empire, had forgotten what surprise felt like. For 12,000 years, it had ruled the stars with mechanical precision, its fleets gliding through the void like patient gods. Its historians recorded victories as routine. Its soldiers fought wars like accountants. There was nothing left to conquer, only to maintain. The Empire was vast, orderly, and bored. When its surveyors discovered an unregistered blue planet orbiting a modest yellow star, the report didn't even reach the High Council for 3 cycles. There was no urgency. The species cataloged there, carbon-based, oxygen-breathing bipedal, looked painfully ordinary. The analysts labeled them primitive primates, pre-jump civilization, potential for assimilation, negligible resistance. A standard template. They called the world Terra. Humans, they were named, a minor curiosity. The decision to send a diplomatic drone wasn't made out of respect. It was protocol. The Empire always extended an offer before domination. It was tradition, an ancient courtesy that made conquest appear civilized. The drone arrived in orbit, unfolded its mirror wings, and began transmitting in mathematically perfect standard galactic. The first message was simple. We are the benevolent overseers of the known cosmos. Prepare for assimilation. Resistance is unnecessary. The message took only 8 seconds to reach Earth. What followed was silence, then laughter. Not fear, not outrage, just collective disbelief, followed by the contagious absurdity of the situation. News anchors chuckled mid-broadcast. Social media lit up with hashtags. Memes appeared faster than any military response. Someone edited the alien transmission into a rap remix. Another turned it into a dance challenge. Within hours, billions of humans were laughing. The Empire's linguists struggled to interpret this reaction. They believed laughter was a sign of confusion or a psychological breakdown. They didn't realize it was humanity's oldest survival mechanism. When faced with impossible, humans laughed. When terrified, they joked. It wasn't defiance at first. It was disbelief. No one could imagine that aliens had actually shown up with the arrogance of ancient colonizers. The old movies had warned of invasions, gray men, motherships, doom. Yet the reality was comically bureaucratic. A floating speaker demanding surrender with the tone of a customer service robot. Someone on live television held a cardboard sign reading, "Take me to your meme lord." The internet crowned the alien drone as Emperor Buzz Lightyear. Every second that passed without destruction amplified the comedy. The Empire's observers recorded a planetary cognitive disturbance. In truth, it was joy. Within a week, humanity had turned First Contact into a global festival. Late-night shows hosted mock debates with alien representatives, actors in costumes arguing about planetary rights. Politicians made speeches filled with jokes. A comedian went viral saying, "They want to colonize us? Good luck paying our rent first." The aliens mistook it all for ritual submission, a cultural dance of surrender. The Empire's ambassador drone sent a second message. "Your mirth is appreciated. Your compliance will ensure minimal restructuring." That line alone triggered another wave of laughter so loud that seismographs in Japan recorded it as microtremors. The world was united, for once not in fear, but in shared ridicule of something that thought itself divine. Even in places of war and poverty, people gathered around screens to laugh together. It was the first global joke humanity had ever told as a species. In the capital world of the Empire, the reaction was chaos of a different kind. Scholars analyzed the recordings with horror. How could a pre-jump species mock the supreme authority without consequence? Was it ignorance, madness, or some form of subtle warfare? Military psychologists proposed that human laughter might be a neural defense mechanism designed to disarm telepathic influence. Others argue it was a cultural virus, uncontainable, unpredictable, and possibly dangerous. The High Admiral demanded an immediate demonstration of control. The Empire had never been mocked before, and arrogance had no tolerance for comedy. They prepared to send a fleet, but the Council delayed. They wanted to understand. There was something about that laughter that unnerved even their synthetic minds. It was uncontrolled yet intelligent, irreverent yet unifying. No fear, no obedience, only defiance disguised as amusement. Meanwhile, humanity didn't stop. A global comedy competition was announced. Who can roast the Empire best? Participants from every country joined in. Scientists contributed. Philosophers wrote essays on the meaning of laughter in the face of tyranny, and artists painted the alien ships as circus tents. The Empire's transmissions became punchlines. Resistance is unnecessary, they had said, and humanity answered. We weren't planning on resisting. We're busy enjoying the show. The phrase became a meme anthem. The Empire tried sending more messages, escalating in tone. Your cooperation ensures survival. Non-compliance will lead to disciplinary correction. Every threat turned into new material. A comedy troupe produced a series called Disciplinary Correction, a parody about incompetent aliens trying to manage Earth like an interstellar daycare. It broke viewership records. The Empire realized it wasn't facing an army. It was facing something worse. A civilization immune to intimidation. The Empire's Intelligence Bureau grew desperate. They began studying human brain patterns. Their analysts discovered a disturbing phenomenon. Fear and humor activated similar neural networks. When humans laughed, their stress levels dropped, their coordination improved, their creativity spiked. Laughter wasn't weakness. It was power. The Empire's scientists called it cognitive reframing response. They found no equivalent in their species. When aliens felt fear, their systems froze. When humans felt fear, they joked, adapted, and kept moving. The Empire had encountered predators, rebels, zealots, and nihilists, but never jesters who weaponized joy. A confidential report circulated among the upper echelons. A species that mocks power cannot be ruled. They dismantle authority by reducing it to absurdity. The report was suppressed, but its words lingered. The first official contact summit took place in orbit. A vast holographic hall was projected above the Pacific. Delegates from the Empire appeared, tall, luminous, serene. Humanity sent an unmanned drone projecting a 3D avatar, a shadow figure with a simple voice, polite and cheerful. The aliens recited the assimilation decree. The human representative responded, "That's adorable. How long did it take you to rehearse that speech?" For a moment, the galaxy's most powerful being stood silent, unable to interpret mockery in real time. The meeting collapsed into confusion when the human transmission ended with, "Thank you for attending this intergalactic open mic night." Billions watched live as the Empire's diplomats disconnected in visible agitation. On Earth, the response was jubilation. For the first time, humanity realized its greatest weapon wasn't its technology or armies. It was its shared absurdity. The Empire called an emergency assembly. Generals demanded invasion. Scientists urged restraint. Cultural theorists warned that human communication could destabilize the Empire's societal cohesion if allowed to spread. The phrase mirth plague entered their archives. The Empire had never lost control of a situation before. The dreadnought that went silent above Earth was supposed to be a symbol of fear, not surrender. Yet, as weeks passed with no communication from its commander, the High Council found themselves facing something unfamiliar. Unease. They couldn't admit fear. It wasn't a feeling they allowed themselves, but the silence of an entire warship felt like mockery. The incident report said the humans hadn't attacked, hadn't resisted, hadn't begged. They had just laughed. Across 12,000 star systems, that detail spread faster than censorship could contain it. People whispered. The primates laughed at a dreadnought. Some even tried to imitate human laughter, though they didn't yet understand it. What began as a containment operation was quickly becoming an ideological infection. To restore dominance, the Empire authorized Project Reverence, a psychological operation designed to erase human influence. They would broadcast fear instead of words, using frequency waves proven to induce paralysis in sentient species. A fleet of drones was sent to orbit Earth, each transmitting an artificial aura of despair. The effect should have caused planetary panic. It didn't. Within hours, humanity adapted. Radio stations played upbeat music over the frequencies. A DJ in Brazil mixed alien fear pulses into dance beats and called it the Galactic Groove. The track went viral. Teenagers danced to what was supposed to break their spirits. The Empire's generals stared at the telemetry in disbelief. One muttered, "They metabolized fear into art." The phrase was noted, but no one dared repeat it aloud. The concept was too dangerous. On Earth, governments didn't unite through politics. They united through comedy. When faced with incomprehensible power, they didn't rally armies, they rallied minds. Psychologists launched studies on how humor affected collective resilience. The results shocked even them. Joking about annihilation reduced panic by 84%. Public morale remained higher than in peacetime. Laughter is a neurological shield. One scientist said during a broadcast, "It converts fear into comprehension." Humanity had turned emotion into strategy. The Empire monitored the broadcast and labeled it weaponized mirth. They couldn't understand how something intangible could neutralize control. Empires thrived on predictability. Humans thrived on chaos. And chaos now was their native tongue. The Empire escalated again. They sent a full fleet, dozens of cruisers armed with suppression beams and sonic drones. The mission: crush morale without firing a single destructive weapon. They began broadcasting subliminal commands. Submit. Kneel. Obey. The words infiltrated communication networks, disguised in visual noise. Humanity detected it within hours. Programmers reversed the signal, embedded jokes in the frequency, and rebroadcast it back into the fleet. The Empire's translation AIs crashed trying to process paradoxical statements like, "Kneel before lunch," "Obey your dog," "Love your toaster." Ships malfunctioned. Systems misinterpreted commands. One admiral demanded an explanation. The answer he received from his own AI was, "Error. The joke is on you." The fleet withdrew in humiliation. Humanity didn't even realize they had accidentally performed the first act of interstellar cyber comedy warfare. For the first time in centuries, the High Council argued in panic. No war plan accounted for psychological resilience this absurd. The Emperor demanded to see unedited footage from Earth. He watched crowds dancing under alien dreadnought shadows, waving lights, laughing, singing alive. No fear. He whispered. They mocked the infinite. His ministers avoided his gaze. "Perhaps they are insane," one suggested. "Perhaps," the Emperor replied. "Insanity is freedom." He ordered total information quarantine. Every mention of humans was now forbidden. But the Empire's censorship came too late. Human transmissions had already slipped through the cracks, spreading through traders, smugglers, explorers. Little clips of comedians joking about space gods or control issues reached alien audiences across sectors. The response was confusion first, then curiosity, and eventually laughter. Alien laughter. The contagion was mutating. Human scientists had no idea how deeply their humor had penetrated the galactic network. They were too busy turning the absurd into research. Cognitive scientists at CERN developed an algorithm designed to analyze alien broadcasts. It worked by detecting rhythmic anomalies, patterns resembling comedic timing. When they tested it, they discovered something unexpected. Alien FDL communications shared the same frequency intervals as human speech pauses. Someone joked, "Maybe comedy really is universal." But the joke became discovery. Using humor-based timing, humans managed to piggyback signals across galactic channels. Their first interstellar broadcast wasn't a declaration of power. It was a stand-up routine. "Welcome, extraterrestrial friends," the comedian said. "Hope you brought snacks." The transmission lasted 20 minutes. No weapons, no threats, just laughter, humility, and irony. Billions of aliens watched it in secret. The Empire tried to block it, but laughter proved more persistent than light. The Empire's military reacted with fury. "This is mimetic warfare," declared General Kether before the council. "They're infecting our citizens with emotional instability." His words were true, but his tone trembled. Even he had caught himself chuckling once while reviewing human footage. Laughter was rewriting the emotional codes of entire species. The generals proposed a final strike. Eradicate the source before the contagion became unstoppable. The Emperor hesitated. Total extermination was possible, but costly. And deep down, He feared that killing them would immortalize them. Make them fear us again, he said. Remind them we are gods. So the fleet returned, this time prepared to demonstrate absolute dominance. Earth's telescopes detected hundreds of ships entering orbit. The world held its breath. For a brief moment, even humanity's humor faltered. Then, someone launched a live broadcast titled, "Welcome to the End of the World Comedy Hour." Within minutes, billions tuned in. The host, a faceless voice modulated for anonymity, began to speak. "So, they've sent an empire to kill us. I've had worse dates." The crowd laughed, not out of denial, but unity. Soldiers stationed across continents streamed the broadcast in their helmets. Civilians in bunkers smiled through tears. Even astronauts aboard orbiting stations listened, their laughter echoing through static. The Empire's ships hovered silently, waiting for orders to fire. The Emperor himself watched the feed. He didn't understand why the laughter sounded like defiance and prayer combined. The fleet never fired that day. Instead, they left. No one ever explained why. Theories spread that their own crews had begun laughing, unable to carry out destruction under its sound. From that day forward, human humor became a symbol, a weapon, and a philosophy. The United Nations transformed into something new, the Global Resonance Network. Its purpose wasn't governance, but communication. They turned every satellite into a beacon of emotion, broadcasting music, jokes, poetry, and fragments of shared human moments across the stars. The message was simple: we exist and we laugh. The transmissions reached places even the Empire couldn't monitor. Small colonies on Galactic Edge reported strange phenomena: laughter,